So you've never owned a home before and you are ready for home ownership, but you're not quite sure what the first, second, 10th, 20th step is. Look, it's completely different than renting if you've never owned a home, and there's a lot of planning that goes into it. But with these 5 steps, you will have success. So don't go anywhere because we're going to break it down right after this. Hello, this is Sheryl Willis over at the Real Agent Now group right here in Phoenix, Arizona. And if this is the first time to our channel, you're going to want to tap that little subscribe button and click that little bell so that you are notified each and every time we release a new video. We are getting dozens of calls every single day. I know there are so many questions, from financial to where to market activity. Like, there's just so much information that's coming in. And really, you just want to know, where do you start? How do you get going so that you have a positive experience and you get what you're looking for, depending on when that is? It's all up to you, but we can't help you unless you pick up that phone, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, days, nights, weekends. We got your back when moving to Phoenix, Arizona. Even for the first-time home buyers, we'll walk you through, we'll hand carry you through, and make sure that you are thrilled to be a homeowner in the greater Phoenix area. But you got to pick up the phone. So let's get started, and then you can give me a call. We are getting so many phone calls, and it's exciting, from first-time home buyers that they are ready to take that leap into their financial future and become a homeowner. Well, I'm sure you know at least that it's not as easy as renting. It definitely takes some planning, and with these 5 top secret tips, you will sure to be successful. So let's start with the number one question we always get. Literally, I'm a first-time home buyer. I've never owned a home. How much money do I need? Well, thankfully, the market has slowed down, because what you needed a year ago and what you need in 2023 is literally worlds apart. If you didn't have $100,000 saved, you had no chance in 2021. So let's talk about what that means for 2023. Never has there been a better time for a buyer to buy a home. I know you hear in the media all these it's market's crashing, interest rates are super high. And you know what? That means that the majority of the competition has left the stage. And that means that you'll be able to take advantage of a lot of benefits that do not exist when there's too many buyers in the market. So how much money down if you are a first-time home buyer? First of all, the loan FHA does not stand for first-time home buyer. The one benefit you do have, I wouldn't say one, but the most important benefit that I can see as a first-time home buyer is you can qualify for a conventional loan for as little as 3% down, as long as it's your primary residence. 3%. Right now, also, during kind of the chaos, there are some properties that will qualify along with a buyer qualifying. So it's kind of a double facet qualification for even only 1% down. Now, number 2, closing costs. What exactly are closing costs? When you talk about closing costs, this is the best part. This is the best part about buying in 2023. We can get sellers, whether it's new construction or resale, to pay all your closing costs. Don't even worry about that part. We will get the seller to pay your closing costs. Closing costs typically are between $5,000 and $7,000. If any lender tells you it's more, don't use that lender. Okay? The problem is this, is that, again, an inexperienced home buyer is usually looking at, how much money do I have to put down and what is my interest rate? And they don't understand really how there's other contributors that are more important to talk about. And especially, again, in 2023, because we can get sellers to buy your rate down. What you want are lower closing costs, because even if the seller's paying for it, we can use that money for something else for you. Okay, so we don't want to just throw the money away, party time, data, we want to make sure that we use it the most strategic way for you. Let's talk about what closing costs are. Closing costs are, number one, the title fees. No one can get away from the title fees, and those will be set by the title company that is yet to be determined. Now, that they are federally regulated, so they all are relatively close, okay? Appraisals are going to be required. And the appraisals, depending on if it's more rural or not, meaning if it's out in the middle of nowhere and no appraiser wants to go out there, they're going to charge you a lot more money. If it's kind of in the city, here in the greater Phoenix area, is going to be right around $500 to $700. But there are some, again, lenders, and this is why it's really important that you work with us where we, because we do a lot of these, the lenders are waiving the appraisal fee, and they will actually do a different type of valuation that can be as little as $150. So in the event that the seller, again, whether the seller's paying your closing costs or not, if you don't have to use it on something that you don't have to, and you can use it towards buying down the interest rate, it is important, even if you're not paying for it. Okay. Another cost, and the biggest part of buyers' closing costs, are lender fees. There are some lenders that give you great rates, but they are charging you on their fees. We call those junk fees. And that's because, let me tell you folks, the lender is going to make their money one way or the other. They're going to either make it on the front end with the closing costs, or they're going to make it on the back end when they give you higher interest rates. So again, you want to work with someone you trust that's on the outside that can review things with you and tell you what's right and what's wrong. So super important. Another cost that you will need to prepare is once you go under contract in Arizona, you have a 10-day inspection period. And during that 10 days, you will have the right to conduct any and all inspections. This would include definitely a termite inspection. Well, I shouldn't say definitely, but I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. Some lenders do require it as well. A termite, it's actually a wood infestation type of report. And here's the thing about Arizona. You either have termites or will have termites at some point. Fret no more. If there are termites, the seller's going to fix it. I don't want to say repair. It's going to take care of it. To get an entire home, a moderate home, about 2,000 square feet, to have the entire home treated and warranted for 2 years is going to be $400. So again, any termite company that tells you it's like $2,000, and there still are, you don't need to spend that kind of money, whether it be the seller doing it before you're closing or you having to do it if they pop up down the road, okay? The second inspection we always recommend is just a general inspection. Now, a general inspection is just what it sounds like, where they're just going to do like 200 checkpoints. They're going to be turning on and off lights. They're going to be opening, doors and locking them, making sure they latch, toilets flushing, sinks draining, showers, like, you get my point. In that report, if they've identified something like recommend, a roofer take a look at it, we could get a roof certification or a roof inspection for you. If there's a pool, it's not working right, or it's not priming, or whatever the situation might be, we might need a pool inspection. We will guide you through what inspections are available. And depending on what part of the country you come from, there may even be other concerns that you might have that we don't frequently see here in Arizona, maybe like radon, but it is available. So if that's something important to you, let us know. And again, we'll get all these scheduled for you. A basic home inspection with a termite inspection is going to be right around $600. That is paid out of pocket, totally separate from your loan. So you just got to make sure you have that money set aside. Okay. Number 3, how do you know how much money you are qualified for? There is a ton of mortgage calculators online. And here's the thing. Everybody always says, I want to only spend this much money out of, like, completely. It has to cover absolutely everything. Well, unless you give us a call directly and you're working with someone in Arizona, when you go on the internet and try and do all this stuff, they're using average numbers for the nation. Let me tell you, homeowners insurance is going to be more expensive in hurricane cities or earthquake cities. It's definitely more expensive in some of those states. Arizona doesn't have any natural disasters, so it's going to be considerably less. Let's put that. Number two, property taxes has everything to do with what your monthly payment's going to be. If you live in the Houston area, let's just say, and you're looking for homes in the area and you're like $300,000, and then you go to Arizona and you're like, oh, 300,000 is yucky. Well, you might have to go up to about $400,000 here. But you know what? Our property taxes are the exact opposite. So you know what? It's almost the same per monthly cost. So that's why you got to pick up the phone so that we can help you figure out what it costs here in Arizona. We have a better idea of what the hazard insurance, the property taxes are going to be. And all that comes into it. Here's the other part of it. There's not only the comfort level of what you want to buy, but there is what you're qualified for. And this is the important part that people don't quite understand. Unless you are just a basic W-2 employee and you already have a job lined up here in Arizona, there are so many, if this, then this, not this, then add this. This is why you need to give us a call. How many times have I said that already? Look, we work with, in my opinion, the best lender ever. He's not a bank. He's not an online mortgage company. He's not a broker. Well, he is in a sense. He is a wholesale broker. So what he does, instead of adding on that cushion like all the other lenders do and charging all those junk fees, he passes those savings directly onto our clients because of the volume we do. We can save our clients thousands of dollars and hundreds of dollars a month. Let me tell you, it's super important that you reach out to us. We'll get you directly to where you can complete an online application, and they're going to take in a lot of variables. Number one is income. This is your gross monthly income. Now, there's a lot of people out there right now that are doing second jobs, or they're 1099ing, creating, these awesome entrepreneurial income kind of things. And there's a lot of requirements. If someone's going to give you money, they want to know you're a solid risk. And I hate to say that, but yes, every borrower is a risk of some sort. So they want to minimize that as much as possible. So they're going to take certain income. They're going to take your debt. Debt is, people don't realize having a bunch of credit cards are not a good thing. And sometimes paying off credit cards are not necessarily the right thing, depending on what your outstanding credit is. I'm telling you guys, there's so many more details. And then also your credit score. So having any kind of problems in your past, we can help you no matter where you are with all this. You have 1099 questions, W-2 questions. You have some old debt that you want to get off your books, if you would. And here's another thing. Don't keep going to those free credit karma things. Don't keep checking on your credit like that. People don't realize how much that does hurt. And they also don't realize how incorrect using just one credit report is. One of the things when you go to apply for a loan, they take three. It's called a tri-merge credit report. And they take reporting from three different bureaus and they find that median. And so that way you don't get totally slammed if there was one that's reporting something different than the other. Good thing. And also here's another thing to know. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I just bought a car and I have a credit score of 800. Well, two things. If you just bought a car, I hope you put a lot of money down and your monthly payment's low. And number two, credit on buying a car is different than buying a home. So it's different. Your FICO score will be totally different. Okay, number four, here's another variable. And here is why right now is the best time. So I'm going to tell you. So number four is the type of loan. For the most part, three different types of loans. The very first one and most popular is a conventional loan. Conventional loan is more of private money, and if you have good credit, they are most often the best type of loan and the most favored from a seller perspective. And you're probably thinking, why would I care about what the seller was talking about? And let me tell you why. Again, before 2023, when the market slowed down so that buyers can get in the market, sellers wanted to know that if they locked in a contract with a buyer, that they were going to get the deal closed. Conventional loans move along quicker. They are just more frequent. There's more appraisers. There's so many variables. And just kind of the world out there, the most favored kind of loan, whether it's correct information or not. And back in 2021 and previously, we had buyers in the market that were putting down in excess of 20% and even more. So the more money you put down, the better, the higher probability the appraisal is going to come in and the buyer is going to get the deal closed. I know this might be a little bit too detailed for you, but just trust me when I say conventional is the most preferred way from a seller. When it's in a buyer's market, which we are right now, and that's why I'm encouraging you to make the plunge now, these next two loans are fantastic. But again, from a seller perspective, not favored. The first one is a VA loan. Veteran loans, 10, 20 years ago, there was a lot of pushback because there were some fees that could not be paid for by the buyer. So the seller had to take on those expenses. And I am so glad they finally removed all that. And now veterans are just as awesome as a conventional loan, except with a VA loan, the buyer can never lose their earnest money if appraisal doesn't come in. Now, today, again, in 2023, in today's market, we're not going crazy and overbidding and going in way over appraised value. So there's not a lot of risk for a seller to accept a VA loan. Back in the day, there was. So if by chance this window closes up and if the buyers come back out when interest rates go down, we might see pushback again on the VA loans. So now, did I say that enough? Is the time to buy before that happens. And then the last loan and the most used loan for first-time home buyers. First-time home buyers, it's kind of a shock. Moving from rental or maybe even living with your parents and then buying, you probably haven't been working on your credit. You probably haven't been working on that debt. You probably haven't been saving a whole lot of money. And maybe you don't even have credit. Believe it or not, there are some people that in their 20s realize they don't even have credit or they have the wrong credit. There is a loan, it's called FHA, which stands for Federal Housing Authority. It has nothing to do with first-time home buyer. But these type of loans have a higher requirement. These are also government loans. And so they have a property standard in which the government is willing to loan on that property. So back when the market was nutty, and again, if it gets nutty, sellers do not like this loan. These appraisers are also very strict. They want to be uber compliant and they don't want to stretch things. Did I say that right? These appraisers are the most conservative. So if they call something out, if they see, you're going to laugh when you hear this one. Obviously, if the appliance missing, no, you can't have, they're not going to loan you. If the flooring is missing, they're not going to loan on you. But if there's even wood chips or paint is peeling on the outside, the seller has to fix that prior to closing. If there's any kind of wood rot, they got to fix that before, dry rot, and that does happen here with the heat, more heat than it is water here. But we do have water issues. So if there's any water damage with an FHA loan, there's a strict requirement, not strict, but there is a requirement for the property to be of decent standards. So there's some times where I get first-time homebuyers, especially, they're like, I would like a fixer-upper. And they find some of these fixer-uppers and it either says A, cash only, or B, it might accept a conventional loan because, again, conventional isn't as strict with the property standards. And with the FHA, they have to meet those minimum standards. So buyers love FHA just because of the way it's structured. You could maybe even have a lower credit score, and there's a lot of options. We here in Maricopa, you can purchase a home up to about $455 is the purchase price, which gives you a lot of options. Let's now go to the number 5 thing you need to do, and that is, now it's time for you to look online where you can find what. Here we are. This is the current MLS as of the closing up of 2022. This is where you can get homes in the greater Phoenix area for under $300,000. There's a lot of people that for some reason pick that number. And so that's where I wanted to show you can still buy a new single family home in these areas for $300,000 or less. And when I say less, it's probably very, very little less. It's probably like $299,999. Anyways, we are going to be going in the predominantly the Southeast Valley, which is a great area, but you're going to find that it's on the very, very outskirts of town. So here's the greater Phoenix area. Here's Old Town Scottsdale, where all the fun and the partying is going. Downtown Tempe, also fun and a lot of great stuff. And then the hot spots, Chandler and Gilbert. So if you are looking under the 300,000, yes, I really do mean you're going to be going down here, south. If I had a client and they were looking at under 300,000 and this is what they were pulling up, this is the area that I would go to. And this is Maricopa. It's actually part of Pinal County, but it is in a city called Maricopa. Let me tell you, in a matter of just 3 to 5 years, this town is going to be exploding even more so than it is. Right now, it's still a very remote part of the greater Phoenix area, but they are building several freeway extensions and widening of roads that we will see again over the next 5 years. The schools are not the best. They are building a hospital, they have a Walmart, they have all the basic essentials. And by the way, they have the best Ace Hardware I've ever seen. All right, now if we could, let's say, bump this up to 400, let's go 399, and then we'll do a minimum of 300, so we don't want to keep seeing that right there. Wow, look at the difference. If you are above 300 up to 399, look at the choices you have in the greater Phoenix area. This is all new construction, you guys. Brand new homes, brand new spanking homes. And here's the thing, working with us, we have been able, I'm not kidding you, it's insane for first-time home buyers. We will get you closing costs. We will get the seller to buy your rate down. So you're not even looking at the price on the monthly price that you would on a resale. You just got to be willing to commute. Invest in yourself. Invest in your first home. You're going to have to commute a little bit. And in a matter of 3 to 5 years, that's how much of a commitment you're going to have to be to really see the appreciation grow in the greater Phoenix area from where we are today, and then to sell your home and move into a larger home or closer in. Let me tell you guys, there are so many opportunities for first-time home buyers, for VA buyers, even conventional buyers. Maybe this is your second or third home. Maybe you owned a home before and you've been renting and now's the time to buy. Let me tell you, 2023 is the window you've been waiting for. Don't be turned off by all the loud noise with the media. They're reporting stuff that's going on 3 to 4 months ago. And the problem is only the interest rate. So if I told you we had a way to work around it, what's holding you up? Give us a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, days, nights, or weekends. We got you back when moving to Phoenix, Arizona, even if you're a first-time home buyer. Don't be afraid. Give us a call. Bye.